My heart just opened up and I was holding him and crying, and I never cried like that.
Your dad was a wrestler in the Japan, I think, 1960 Olympic team, before obviously creating the successful Benihana restaurant chain. You said he was kind of like the Richard Branson of his time. How so?
He just did everything. He's like, he was of the motto, if there's a will, there's a way. With Benihana as his platform, he was able to host these offshore boat races, but then race in them. He's able to get into a hot air balloon and break a world record going from Japan to the United States. I mean, he did so many things where he broke the traditional rule of how to do them by just doing it. Like, he might not be the expert of that field, but he will put his life to the test just to do it. I think I definitely have been inspired by him to also push myself outside of my own comfort zones to experience life at that level. He's a thrill seeker, adventure seeker, adrenaline seeker, and when he's sitting still, it's like something's off. You want to experience him, you got to move with him. Like, he's moving, and I'm like, Dad, hold on. He's like, I'm going. He's like, you better jump on. And I'm on. I'm like, okay, I made it. All right, cool. We just go. So what he gave me was a life of experiences through his crazy world. Like, I was blessed and spoiled by those experiences.
How was he the most determined person you ever knew?
He put his work at the top priority of the list.
I couldn't believe in the doc, there's a video clip of him saying his priorities were business, health, and family.
Yeah, and he's not kidding. He was blunt in almost a very funny way. It's like he's cracking a joke about it because he knows how savage it is to say that. In the moments that we were together, when we had special quality time together, he was there, and that was important to me, and I won't forget those moments.
In one of the more unusual stories, the boat racing accident and how you found out about your other siblings.
I was so young, I don't even remember it. The way my dad tells it, he wakes up in his
after
coma,
an awful accident.
Really, like, where he actually did die, and they had to resuscitate him. And he wakes back up and he sees, my mom, his wife, and then his mistress, who eventually becomes his second wife. And like, I love all families. We all became really close. And that's one thing that my dad did with his families, is he put all his kids together. And we're like, you guys be friends. You guys are brothers and sisters. But yeah, the moment he wakes up and he sees both the women in his life, and he just, he says the story like to people all the time, like, it's like, I just want to die. He closes his eyes, I just want to die. It's like funny now, but wow.
Lung cancer, diabetes, hep C, cirrhosis of the liver, pneumonia. You made the comment that you never got so close to him as you did when he was passing away. Why do you think that was?
Well, just like I was saying before, he was always moving.
Yeah.
At that time, he wasn't moving. He was still. And there was a lot more of a heartfelt exchange there. I finally crossed the threshold where he got to see a glimpse of my success, of what it means to him, where I think the most important thing is like, I'm stable. This DJing thing actually panned out, Dad. It actually did. I actually am making money. You wouldn't believe it. And he's like, okay, I don't have to worry about you. There's like really special bonds of that I got to experience.
Because he had wanted you to go to business school and become an executive in Benihana, and you understandably wanted to.
He was more understanding that, like, I don't necessarily have to follow in that footstep. He's not a nepotistic father where it's like, okay, I'm going to swing you in here and you're just going to get like fast tracked through. He never financially supported us, for one. Well, he did pay for half my education, so I have to give him that. He supported my mom when they split. The point is that he was more like, you need to learn on your own, so when you fall, you can learn how to pick yourself up. Because if I pick you up, if I throw you the lifeline rope when you're in debt, which I was, you're never gonna learn. I never even asked him for help on the debt. I knew he would say no. That's his style. He would never pay. Just because he's rich doesn't mean that he's gonna pay. That's the Japanese work ethic. That's a Japanese traditional father. There's no lifeline. Maybe to the point like if I go to jail for something, like I have to go. It's not gonna bail me out. He's a very like hard-edged, tough love father. I'm grateful for that. That's the only way you learn is you pick yourself up.
There was a moment, but I think you guys were in the hospital room. You really hadn't been alone with them before. What about that time made it so powerful to you?
It was just the quietness. It's a bit awkward a little bit in the beginning, and then like my heart just opened up, and I was holding him and crying, and I never cried like that. I never cried around my dad. At that moment, all of it came out, and he was just telling me he's gonna make it through. And I really believed him because he was just a survivor. He survived everything. But I'm so glad I had that moment with him. It was really, I'm glad I got to be able to share that.
If not for him, do you think you would have had your same level of determination?
All that stuff is unconscious. It's subconsciously part of me. I can't deny that. All of his kids, all of us, we're all have some of him in us. And you can't take that away.
I want to end talking about your mom, who's kind of the unsung hero in all of this. How would you best explain the role that she's played in your life?
She's my rock. She's my heart. She's my support structure. She's been there day in, day out since I was born. She's my biggest fan. She's just there. She's always there. She's my sun. She's my moon. And I'm just so lucky to have her in my life.